So far, we've talked about three people who could possibly be a fifth monkey. I can't remember the first two guys, but of course, the third guy being Stephen Stills. So we've talked about that. And now we're going to finally get into other people. So let's start off with the one that we're all most familiar with, and I guess we could consider a fifth Beatle because he was very helpful with the Monkees' music after they fired Don Kirshner. The man I'm talking about, of course, is Chip Douglas. This was on the album. He's got a mustache. Pepe, yeah. With the beard.
I think you got it now, Mickey.
Now, most non-monkey fans don't know who Chip Douglas is, like, at all, because, like, I feel like you wouldn't know who this guy is, so to give you a short rundown of who Chip Douglas is, not was, because he's still alive, thank God. He is an American songwriter and a musician. He was actually in a band called the Turtles for a short period of time, and he was like the bassist. But he's most known for being the Monkees' producer and produced like two of their greatest hits, which was Daydream Believer and Pleasant Valley Sunday. So, with that being said, let's get into his time with the Monkees, and after reading that, I will conclude whether or not I consider him to be a fifth monkey. So, actually, before we get into that, I think we should get into post monkeys. I don't know if that's on my thing. If it's not in the editing, then we're probably just gonna get into the monkeys and stuff like that.
That was a little too long.
So, I didn't know this. This is fucking crazy. Chip Douglas used to date Linda Ronstadt, which, if you guys might know, Mike actually wrote this song that Linda sang because he wrote the song Different Drum, and he did get to sing it in the show, but they told him he couldn't make it into a monkey song. Like, they didn't want him to make it into a song. They said this doesn't fit the show, so Mike gave it to Linda instead. So it's technically a Stony Pony song, but it's also not really a Stony Pony song. It's a Mike Nesmith song. Anyways, Chip Douglas produced her the first solo album she ever made in 1969, and then in 1975 the Modern Folk Quartet reunited and began to perform again, often appearing at the Ice House in Pasadena, California. And for several years, they teamed up with ex-Kingston Trio member Dave Guard to back him in his solo act. In the 1980s, the Modern Folk Quartet recorded several albums for a Japanese record company. They also toured Japan, where they were made popular from 1988 to 2016. So, Chip Douglas is now writing and producing records in a variety of genres, dividing his time between California and Hawaii. And I think that's actually pretty cool. I won't lie, I think that's pretty cool. So, now we shall get into the monkeys. So I think Mike and Chip were friends because it says here that Chip accepted Mike Nesmith's offer and joined the Monkees in the studio first to create a new single with all four Monkees playing. It couldn't be released because of a publishing restriction imposed by Screen Gems, who both produced the Monkey series and controlled their music publishings. Douglas's next Monkey project was their Headquarters album, which was the first time they were able to play music without any restrictions. Recorded over 6 steady weeks of sessions at the RCA studios in Hollywood, Headquarters was the first album to feature the Monkees playing on every track, and Chip contributed a song, Forget That Girl, love that song, and joined them on bass guitar in the studio. The album was released in the spring of 1967 and began to steadily climb up the charts, eventually reached number 1 in the Billboard album chart, but was displaced by Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club by the Beatles. No singles from Headquarters were issued in the United States, but a non-album song from the same sessions, The Girl I Knew Somewhere, reached the top 40 as a B-side. Douglas produced the hit single Pleasant Valley Sunday, written by Gary Goffin and Carole King, which featured an innovative guitar intro composed by Douglas and played by Nesmith. Chip also produced the next Monkees album, Pisces Aquarius Capricorn Jones Ltd., on which he also played bass. Unlike Headquarters, it was done in several different studios on the US between Monkees tour dates. Douglas was also introduced. He also introduced the guys to new songwriters, including Jon Stewart, who wrote Daydream Believers, which I made a video about that, so we don't need to dwell into that. But it was in their 1968 album, The Birds, the Bees, and the Monkees. Chip also introduced the band members to Harry Nilsson, who, of course, wrote the song Cuddly Toy, but also Daddy's Song, which, again, we'll talk about that song soon, so. And featured both the Pisces album and an episode, the Cuddly Toy song was in the Pisces album and an episode of the TV series. Chip has been quoted as saying, "I like to think I gave Harry his big break, which resulted in a record deal with RCA. Douglas was pleased to have made hit records with the Monkees, but was disappointed they weren't able to erase the common misconception that the Monkees weren't actually musicians, and that the press took little notice of their accomplishments." So after all of that, Chip kept in touch with the Monkees and returned in 1969 to record his composition Steam Engine with Mickey on vocals. The song appeared in reruns of their TV show, actually, so that's pretty cool. Then, in 1976, Chip re-teamed with Mickey and Davey and Peter to record the single Christmas Is My Time of Year. Yes, that actually happened. It's like a Christmas thing they did. There's like a picture of it where like Peter has his beard, I think. It's pretty funny. No, I mean, it's not funny, but I still, like, I want to hear that one day. Which was co-written by Chip and Howard Kalin. By then, Mike was no longer with the group, so, like, that's before Pool It. Anyways. Then, in 1986, the Monkees reunion tour reawakened interest in the band, and Rhino Records reissued all of the original albums, including their work with Chip Douglas. And Chip has appeared in several documentaries about the Monkees, reminiscing about his work with the band. And that's everything. That's everything. So, let's see. Is Chip a fifth monkey? Let's talk about it. Now, I mentioned something when I was talking about the fifth Beatle. I mentioned to you guys that, Epi, their manager, was a fifth Beatle. I mentioned that Billy Preston could have been a fifth Beatle. I mentioned anyone could have been a fifth Beatle. Literally anyone. Your uncle could be a fifth Beatle for all you know. But with the case of the Monkees, it's not that it's difficult. It's just that it's hard to pinpoint who exactly is a fifth monkey. Again, we have 3 videos so far, and 2 of them is about Stephen Stills, and he was never even, made into a monkey because they didn't like his face. So for this, I guess, again, it's a bit difficult because in our next video, we're going to talk about Boyce and Hart, and they were big help with the Monkees too, like Chip Douglas. So, I'm gonna have to say that he was, because he did do bass for some songs on 2 albums he helped produce. So, he gets my stamp of fifth monkey. I think Chip Douglas is a fifth monkey. That's all I can really say about that, because, like, I can't really think of anything else, because, again, we're going to talk about Boyce and Hart, and then we're going to talk about, Andrew, Sandoval, because he's, again, we'll get into that, but also, we have Coco Dolans, so that's, like, 4 people that we have left that could be a fifth monkey. But for Boyce and Hart, it'd be like 5th and 6th, because it's 2 people. But, like, I mean, as a duo, I guess 1 person. But, some dumb bullshit I'm not even going to get into right now in this video. But, yeah. Chip is a fifth monkey. And I know what you're thinking, what about the other 2 videos you made? Okay. Steven isn't a fifth monkey. As much as I talked about how he should have been one, he's not. Those other 2 guys, while they did help with the TV show, the other 2 guys in the first video, they're not really fifth monkeys. So far Chip is, but there could be others who could be a fifth monkey, so we'll get into that when we get into that.
I think you got it now, Mickey.